Hey, welcome to Midas Letter Live. I'm joined with Melinda Rombouts, the CEO of EEVVF Incorporated. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good. Yeah, so we've had you in here before.
Yes.
And I just wanted to start off by asking you a few questions about just basic stuff, like how you got in the industry in general.
Sure. So I've actually had this facility, this greenhouse, for I think almost 20 years now. So I was in the flower industry. It was changing. The big box stores are all getting involved in that industry, and the industry is changing really quickly. That you're not really seeing, it's a difference of demographics. Young people aren't really getting into gardening, so it was a decision to move into this. This came up, and we decided half-heartedly, really, to apply for it. And once we started looking into it more is when we really became a big believer in the plant itself. I really didn't know very much about it before, but really love growing, working in the greenhouse. And so that's kind of how we moved to this industry.
Yeah, well, I guess it's still flower, right? You're still
It's
growing
still flower.
flowers.
They're all female flowers now.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
true.
yeah.
Well, speaking of females, your company's focused on marketing to women. How would you characterize women consuming cannabis as being different from how men might consume cannabis?
Well, I don't think it's really about the difference in consumption. I think that there's a lot of benefits out there, but what we're seeing was that, there's a lot of brands out there that are really coming from male-dominated companies that we really wanted to be able to address really authentically as female leaders. Our company, one of the first female CEOs, and most of our department heads are female just by chance. And I think that we really have an authentic attitude towards addressing women's concerns and thinking in those terms of, what do women want from cannabis? What do they, what do they want to address in their lifestyle and wellness?
Okay, so what kind of products do they want? What do you sell?
So I think the dried flower is very universal, and
Right.
really what's going to be really exciting is when Health Canada kind of opens up to allow more things like the edibles that we expect next year. So, there's a lot of exciting, as you know, this industry moves so quickly. There's so many changes. I mean, there's probably not another industry that is this exciting. But there's all these brands coming out from, of course, wines. There's been a lot of new articles about infused wines, cosmetics, beauty lotions. There's also sensual products. There's everything coming out, right? Yeah. So there's also specifically for dealing with female issues, either sanitary issues or dealing with PMS, those kind of things. So there's a lot of work going on, and we're seeing that in the gray market and down in the States, that there's a lot of exciting things coming up. And then, as female-led, we were like, wow, we really love the work that's coming in. We want to be involved in that. And that's where it really all came from.
That's great. There's probably, as a business, there's probably potentially a lot of money in that too, because it's simply not out there as much as some of the other kind of products that we're seeing. So.
Yeah, I think that we're approaching this with a totally different view, and maybe those are the things that are exciting us more than maybe some of the other companies, is that, this is something that women want to use, an all-natural product. We want our families to have these options as well. So, I think this is, where we've really kind of formed the company and really decided to direct it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's not a ton of female CEOs in the cannabis industry right now. Do you have any thoughts on why that is and how that might change? And I want to include senior leadership roles as well, because it's not always just about the CEO, even though you're a CEO.
Yeah. Not really sure why. Like, we have seen a lot of people come from the financial industry, which is really male-dominated, entering the cannabis industry just because of the opportunities there. And also the pharmaceutical industry has also been, very heavy in male leadership. I think that it's also very difficult for women. We come across differently, right? So, we've done the road trips, and I think that it's, there's certain expectations of leaders that women maybe just don't portray it the same way. And I think, Kevin O'Leary had I think it was in Niagara Falls when he spoke, and he said, women do speak differently. They portray themselves differently, and where I find our company, we've put out very conservative numbers, and people say, why? Well, it's like, it's my attitude. I'm not going to, I'm not going to make everything kind of overblown. What I'm putting out is very authentic and what I think is very reachable, and maybe that doesn't necessarily attract every financer. It doesn't attract everyone, but I mean, I think what we're putting out is a very authentic company, and I think we speak differently, and people react to us differently. So, and I think maybe that's an adjustment that we have to make, and maybe some understanding as well.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. I mean, being a little bit more conservative might protect investors a little bit from the downside, because you're not kind of blowing things up to be this, like, once in a lifetime act now kind of deal. So
yeah.
I can see where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
So let's get into the nuts and bolts of your company a little bit. Where are you located, and what's your capacity and your operation, an overview of what your operation looks like and how it functions?
Sure. So we are close to Strathroy, which is close to London, so a couple hours from here. So we started with 120,000 square feet of licensed square footage. Mm-hmm. So we have about 3/4 of an acre of vegetative space, and we started with about 1.5 acres of flowering space. So we've added another 2 acres, so we're very excited about that. So that's been ready since July. And then we're actually adding on again. So we're adding about 780,000 square feet to get to that 1 million mark of greenhouse space. So that is underway, and it's very exciting. There's been a lot of rain this year, so that's put us off a little bit, might put us off by a month or two, but we're really hoping to have this up and running by Q2 of next year, and hopefully our first harvests in Q3.
Okay, so what are you at right now today in terms of the capacity?
So we are sitting at, we have 120,000 square feet. That other 100,000 square feet, we're still waiting for approvals from Health Canada. Right. So it's been ready since July, but I know they are overwhelmed as well. There's so much going on in the industry. So they are really working with us to try to get this through. So we have plants ready to go. We're kind of like, overwhelmed with, we've had these plants ready. So we are anxious to get into that room. And so right now we are at full capacity with our current greenhouse. We are harvesting almost every day and basically building up a lot in the vault.
Great. So you guys have raised $20.8 million in gross proceeds from private placements. How's the company doing in terms of cash? Are you going to need to raise more? Are you good, or what's the deal?
I think we're keeping our options open right now. There's just so many opportunities right now that, having a little bit of cushion. So, I just came back from Germany. There's so many opportunities in Germany. So, there's quite a few companies there that we've been speaking to and touring their facilities and looking at partnerships. Again, we're looking at a lot of different brands out of the gray market or out of California and Colorado. That have some really great work done on female-oriented brands and products. So, we're looking at a lot of different JVs and partnerships. So, right now we're probably looking for a little bit of cushion so that we can kind of explore our possibilities and follow through on some of these partnerships.
Great. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the initial recreational launch, and I'll just leave it to you to sort of give us your thoughts.
Sure. So, it's everyone for the last year has been moving 100 miles an hour. So we did have a concern back in July. So everyone's license is a little bit different. So back in July, we got a hold of Health Canada and said, hey, we're concerned about this one wording on our license. Can you let us know? And unfortunately, with the regulators, everything's moving fast for them as well. They're like, well, we're not sure how your license is going to migrate, so we'll let you know. So unfortunately, it was, at the beginning of October, they said, I think that we have to do an amendment to your license in order to ship. So we have not shipped yet, which is unfortunate, but we have a huge stockpile ready to go. Health Canada has been very good about working with us to move this along, as well as the provinces has been really great. They understand, why. So we're hoping within the next few weeks that we're going to be able to get this out there once Health Canada addresses this amendment. Like I said, it's difficult once because we didn't know and they didn't know how the licenses were going to be migrated. So, we have this one thing to clear up as far as it's just a statement about who exactly we can sell to. So we get this cleared up and we should be shipping shortly.
Okay, that sounds good. So you're just kind of waiting on a little bit on Health Canada and the supply agreements that you do have. Can you talk a little bit about how much product that might involve? Or?
No, most of the time we sign NDAs with them. Okay. But basically everything that we can grow in our current facility, including flowering room 2, is basically if we can fulfill all those contracts with BC, Ontario, Newfoundland, we've released all of those. They've basically spoken for all of our product, as well as, we have some export to Germany that we're looking at as well. So basically everything can be sold, tomorrow and basically until we have phase 2, that extra 780,000 square feet, we won't have any extra product until that's up and running.
Good. Okay, so one last thing is you've touched on a few of them, but what could investors who are looking at your company look forward to moving into the new year and beyond?
Yeah, probably one of the biggest comments that we have is like, why are you guys so undervalued? I'm not really sure, but you know what? I think that we are a great buy right now if you look at what we can produce. Basically our agreements and, the export possibilities and our brands, we've got some really great feedback on our brands. I think there's a lot of possibilities for this company, and I do agree that I think we're probably one of the best buys on the public market right now. So I think that gives everyone an opportunity to have a chance of getting in with Eve and being kind of part of our path in this, exciting industry.
All right, in with Eve. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We'll leave it there and hope you come back soon.
I will. Okay. Thank you very much.